you're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a poor little me.
Do you feel it?
Yes, we do.
A worldwide awakening is upon us. Welcome to the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Where we explore topics such as UFOs, aliens, banned medical cures, as well as classified secret knowledge. Come question your holographic existence. Share experiences from the other side. This is a show that will expand your mind as we decrypt the symbolic messages locked away deep within your DNA. And now, your guides for this magical journey. The hosts of the Universal Consciousness Show, Avi Nast and Diana Seraphim.
Yeah, you're listening to the show for the thinking global citizen here, and my name is Agi, and Diana, my co-host, is over in Germany. Are you there? Yeah, of course, I heard you, right?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Gosh, we're starting out on the right foot on this one. Before we go any further, I want to tell people how they can connect with us. We are on YouTube, and of course you can also go to our website, www.universal-consciousness-show.com, and we are on a lot of different places out there, iTunes, TuneIn, and Alexa, and many others. And of course, we are on the website of kcorradio.com. Look in the archives and you will find us. We are there. So, and today, this morning, this afternoon, evening, tonight, wherever you are around the world, in fact, even in Australia, where you are tomorrow, we are going to have a wonderful guest with us, Keith Anthony Blanchard. And we are going to step out of the physical a little bit and go behind the curtain with Keith and find out what's back there. He has gained a lot of insight, both of his own experiences and others.
He grew up in a typical middle-class home in a Catholic family, but the Catholic teachings was just not enough. Really early in his life, he kept asking for the hard questions and the answers to the hard questions. What is God, and why are we here? And, he didn't get any good answers. So in his late 20s, he found that going within for himself, that's where he would find some of the answers to the big questions. And that has served him well. Today, in his 50s, he is a musician, a lecturer, has written several books, and is a radio host, is a spiritual teacher, and he traveled to India and met a phenomenal man, a yogi with some extraordinary abilities and truth.
Hello, Keith. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. It seems that Agi has an issue with his Skype. So welcome to our show, and I'm very happy to have you here. Just to begin with, can you tell us in a squeezed story what brought you on this wonderful path? So what was the turning point in your life that brought you on this path?
The turning point for me, as I'm sure it is probably with most people, was pain. Relationship went bad after 10 years, and it brought me into a state of, just humility, and I expired everything I knew me to be because of this dark night of the soul. I was in this place of really wanting something because I had nothing, and I was very passionate. I was very sincere about making contact with God, universe, source, intelligence. And I said a prayer out loud for about 3 weeks, but I don't think it was the 3 weeks in this dark period of my life saying this prayer that convinced universal consciousness, if you will, to finally say, okay, I believe him, he's serious, let me go pay him a visit. It's the level of passion and sincerity I had in my very first asking. And because I was so serious about wanting this connection consciously, it was destined to happen, that's for sure.
Wow. And Do you just talk about the dark night of the soul, and that's popped me up in my brain now. What exactly is the dark night of the soul? We hear so less about this.
Dark night of the soul. We could say it's the perfect mirror to show us ourselves the potential of what we can become. Because in the dark night of the soul, I was depressed. There was no hope. I lived with, it was just dark, sad every day, touching my soul in the aspect of going through the filter of sadness. I was just completely sad and broken. And it was a great place to be, being broken in this regard, because in the brokenness of the old me for 2 years, it was too painful. Self-induced pain, mind you. It was self-induced suffering. I brought this upon myself, not only karmically because it happened, but what I did to myself needlessly for 2 years, harping on something that has run its course. But I wasn't at that level of consciousness yet to understand the beauty that it held for me, which is my life now, because without this dark night of the soul, these 2 years of agonizing, self-induced suffering, it never would have motivated me to get off my lazy duff and do something about my life and make it mean something and help others. What I think is probably the most meaningful journey one can ever take, and that's the journey within oneself to contact that which is everything.
So does that mean that it is necessary that from the dark night of the soul, the next step would be the awakening?
Yeah, and I think when you are in, I don't think a person has a choice at that moment. We all go through little periods of tests and trials where we may be sad for a couple of days or maybe a week. But when you are truly in a dark night of the soul, when you are hunkered down in that abyss, there is no way out but up. Because you are at rock bottom. There's no further down the ladder you can go. You descended into hell. Your own emotional self, mental hell, thoughts, feelings follow thoughts. Reality on the outside begins to manifest itself from the thought, feeling, manifesting formula that we get so lost in. But eventually, as you do the inner work, you start climbing up rungs of the ladder, and things gets a little better, and things get a little better, and things get a little better. So in this phase of your life, the dark night of the soul, the only place to go is up, which would be crossing the bridge to the soul, because in this regard, a tough, dark time of your life is actually a gift, because it motivates you. It gives you something to aspire to. So we don't really have to go into the dark night of the soul. It requires one's intuition, one's awareness to help us prevent such places in our lives. But either way, you will be victorious, because the dark night of the soul will launch you onto the path of crossing the bridge to the soul consciously. Yeah.
Yes, but is that has something to do with the radical transformation are you talking about? Can you elaborate on this?
Radical transformation is completely different, but it's the same goal. Crossing the bridge to the soul, using the analogy I just brought forth about when one is in a dark night of the soul, and over the course of your life, you strive for effort to move into the soul consciously versus falling into the darkness. But radical transformation is a technique, a method. It's always been around. I guess you can say maybe I'm one who has coined it or using it as a teaching tool. Radical transformation is I can put people in a state of the soul consciously, simply in a matter of a moment. And I can do that by posing certain questions that will have the listening audience, this one or whoever it is I'm presenting to at any moment, shifting them simply by questions, or helping them to get a glimpse of something by pondering an idea. For example, if one truly stops and understands what the word omnipresence is, we can all look it up in the dictionary. That which is present in all places at all times. It's in your shirt, it's in your hair, it's in my voice, it's in the fact that you have the ability to hear my voice, it's the taste in your mouth, it's everything. It's truly everything. And the only thing it isn't is the fear-based thoughts. That's the illusion of God created by us. But the reality of God is that which sustains everything in existence, always has, does now, and forever will. So it's everything that makes up the true Christ body. So you're it. There is nothing else. And when a person takes that question within themselves and sincerely asks the question, you will begin to feel your connection to all of it, to everything. We call it God, we call it Christ, we call it the light, we call it whatever words we call it is irrelevant. But what is relevant is the feeling one will begin to expand into by such a simple question.
But it's again something that you said, and that it's hanging in my brain now. You said the God created by us. Do you think it's possible that we have two gods? One of them created by us, by our collective consciousness, that is us alike, that is revenging and punish us because we use our free will. And there is another God, the real one, that created us. The question would be which one we choose to believe in. Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a post recently in social media, and it was quite cool. It says something to the effect of, you can tell that you can tell that you believe in a punishing God by those you judge around you. You can bet that God hates the same people that you do when you judge other people. So, there's really only one God, the one that created us, which is who we really are at our natural state. And there's also the lesser God, if you will, the one that we just created in our own image. And here's one magical thing about religion. I love religion. I think religion is a beautiful way to celebrate your creator, no matter what your faith is. But know that when you go into the space of spiritual samadhi, which is going into a space within yourself, so sincere, be it in a cave, because you are a yogi or a monk, it's that you go inside of yourself so intensely, so passionately, you go into a space of samadhi, communion with God. No matter your religion, no matter who and what you profess, when you meet your maker, be it in this life, be it after you pass, when you come face to face with all that is, even our belief in religion and how we believe and what we believe to be true, all of that gets shattered because it's just lower level ideas. There might be beautiful ideas from a human perspective, but they still are lower levels ideas, because standing in the presence of the key word here is absolution of everything that never started and nor will ever end. See, we can't even wrap our monkey minds around that very concept in and of itself. So to begin to take in the totality of something that is not able to be grasped by the human mind is radical transformation in and of itself.
Yeah, right. But I heard you saying that there was a moment in your life in 1996 when you heard a voice that told you to wake up. Do you think that this voice was the voice of God? Is it something similar with the experience that Neil Donald Walsh had?
Yes, I would say it was a divine experience. I did use the word and still do God, but really for me, that even in and of itself is not enough to bring in the picture that can radically transform someone. It's just a common word we call God. But when we start moving into words like the divine, they just have different vibrations, different tones. They taste a little different in our spiritual palate, if you will. Yes, it was an absolute experience. How do I know this? Because it was everything. It was me. It was the bed. It was the molecules in the wall that just arrived. It was the molecules in the wall that just left. I knew where they were going. There was no time for fear. I smelled the voice. I heard the voice. I tasted the voice. I saw the voice. It was everything imaginable. And it didn't happen in a linear fashion with linear thought that followed thought. I was impregnated with whole thought. And within this whole thought was everything it, quote, wanted from me, as if God could want something. And it said, Keith, bring your tape recorder, go sit on the sofa, close your mouth, take a few deep breaths, and let your mouth move. And I said, about what? And it said, trust me, the thoughts will come. And that was the birth of my bestseller, The Divine Principle, Anchoring Heaven on Earth.
Mm. This is wonderful. But we always hear that one person was connected to God and hear the voice, and the other person did. Do you think that anybody can connect to this God or this power, this overpower that you were connected to? And if yes, is there a special way that we can do that?
That is a very fantastic question. Can anyone have this dialogue with Creator, God, Source?
Yeah.
The answer is we are all already having that connection, because without that connection, we could not exist. A light in your house cannot illuminate without being plugged into the wall. We are 98.6 degrees. We're radiating this bioenergetic heat field. So we are already illumined. We are already the light in and of itself, because the human body, the reason people can see you is because you are radiated light. So you are already the light, without which we would be invisible. So we are already connected to the omnipresent God. So we can't exist without being plugged into the generator. Likewise, when we choose to tap into the current consciously, become aware of where this source of life is coming from, then we begin to realize it is us. It is the very thing that sustains everything that we are. And when we start removing the fear from the internal dialogue, then something magical, mystical, mythical begins to happen. No one can tell you how to do that. No one can tell you correctly and in very descriptive terms. There's really no way to describe to a person the expansion, the depth of experience that begins to happen to someone who becomes conscious of the fact that they are connected to the tapestry. And so anyone can do this. So what is the technique? I will give you the key right here, right now, and it costs you nothing.
Wow, I'm all ears.
You have to want it. That's it. There is no other gig in town. There is no other transformation lesson that a person needs to take on themselves to have a conscious connection. That you see, when yogis go into these caves and Buddhist monks go into these monasteries, they're very serious about it. They are so serious about it. It's like the Buddha. I am going to sit under this tree forever if necessary. That kind of intention turns universal locks immediately, just like that. So it's a passion. It's a sincerity. It's truly a wanting, like wanting your next breath.
But this means first that we have to learn who we really are, right?
Yeah, it's a self-realization process. We have to realize the beauty that we are. Most people will never see themselves or give themselves a pat on the back that they and their life is a very, very beautiful thing. But yeah, I'm flawed. You're not flawed. You're imperfectly perfect. That is the perfection of the universe, is being imperfect, because it makes you a snowflake. The diversity, the beauty of diversity is when one really begins to see everything that happens to them, pro and or a con, then one begins to harness the true power of bringing those two into a state of balance, and brings one into a space of spiritual liberation. You know, Christians, Buddhists, Muslims, Islam, Jainism, Judaism, Hindi, everyone is seeking and eking out the very same thing. We all want spiritual liberation. So what is spiritual liberation? Be happy. In the happiness, one begins to find the diamond that was always hidden in a peanut butter jar. See, a diamond in a peanut butter jar is still a diamond, but we have to wipe that which is very dense and gooey and sticky off of the mind so the mind can shine and we become illumined.
Oh, this is wonderful listening to you. We all know that also according to the Brahmanic, to the Brahma, they say that the divine of the God was hidden into their heart in order that the human cannot find it. So if we think about this, and also Jesus always said that everything is in our heart, that God is in our heart and not in a stone or in a book or whatever. So do you think if we can connect to our heart, we are directly connected to God? Because also according to the Health Math Institute, we now know that heart has its own brain, and it has an own intuition, to say like that. So if we can connect to our heart and to be in a perfect coherence with the heart brain, we can say we are directly connected to the divine.
Absolutely. The heart can be truly seen as a gateway. It is the womb to your cosmic mother. It's also the way we come onto the plateau, this earth, and it's also the way back. So between what we know as us, the meat suit, and what we hope to become, back to a conscious state of spirit, is a gateway. It is a portal. It is a black hole. It is the womb of creation itself. It's the heart. And that's why when we love is the vibration. What is love? It's not, oh my God, I love my partner. That may be included, but that is so limited. Love is not this emotional, sweet sentiment. You can dwell in that energy and it's gorgeous. But when I speak of the heart, it's the vibration that allows one to see the gate and to enter it, but it's always there. So we have to become of like vibration, and that is a vibration of love, which is non-judgment, and it's the 3 A's: acceptance, allowance, and appreciation. Acceptance of that which is, allowing it to be its beautiful self, and appreciate it for it being its beautiful self, even if it's that which seems in your life like something that's terrible. Because again, we have to look for the diamond in the peanut butter jar. That's the real gem, is seeing the blessing and what can seem like a curse.
Right. So we have to put our mind into our house. So let's say to low down our mind until we get into the heart, to think with the heart, to speak like that.
Yeah, the heart is a brain, as you said, and it has its own consciousness, and it's the gateway. And so that's why I'm a big supporter of people doing what you love. If you're not doing what you love, you will die a very miserable person, regretful at that. And the last thing you want to do when crossing back to your parent is carry the energy of regret, because you will repeat this life. Not that repeating a human life is a bad thing. Do you want to go up? Do you want to remain complacent? Basically is the question of what it really becomes.
Yeah, right. I see that we have 1 minute to the break. So let's talk about this after the break, and maybe we will get also Aggie back into our show. So
fantastic.
Okay, so see you.
You're listening to the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Your weekly connection to the truth.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Share your knowledge by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Call now.
Worldwide callers find us on Skype at KCOR Radio. It's time to abandon your fear and question what you think you know.
And now, if you will, accompany me on a journey to the future.
More awakening awaits.
After this, after this, after this, after this, after this, after this.
Come out to the coast, we get together, have a few laughs.
Hi, this is Mac Maloney.
And this is the famous Juan Juan.
And Commander Cobra.
And you know, everyone here at Mac Maloney's Military X-Files show would like to wish all our friends at KCOR a Merry Christmas. What are you getting for Christmas there, Juan Juan?
Set of trains.
Set of trains. Okay.
Maybe a Barbie doll.
Wow, okay. Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
And a Happy Kwanzaa.
Merry Christmas. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Woo!
Toxins are everywhere, from the air we breathe to the food we eat and the water we drink. In a world where 80,000 known toxins and heavy metals threaten our very existence, how are you going to protect yourself and your loved ones? Introducing Pure Body Extra Strength, the world's first colloidal zeolite that helps trap and remove toxins as well as heavy metals from your body that are messing with your memory, clarity, sleep, and focus. Don't just take our word for it, or the testimonials from our thousands of happy customers. Check out the hundreds of articles and case studies on the National Institute of Health website proving zeolite's powerful ability to remove toxins. For a limited time, listeners to KCOR will receive 10% off their first order. To get started, go to trypurebody.com and enter promo code code radio10. Again, that's trypurebody.com. Toxic junk is all around us, but now you can take back control of your health and protect yourself by detoxing with Pure Body Extra Strength. You'll be on your way to sleeping better, thinking more clearly, and feeling more energetic. Go to trypurebody.com right now and get started today.
Monday nights are about to become hauntingly good, as Reverend Sean Whittington possesses the airwaves with Vegas Supernatural. Tune in every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for Vegas Supernatural, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. There's a war raging between good and evil. The question is, which side are you fighting on? Tune in Monday nights as Reverend Sean Whittington sets the new standard for paranormal radio with some of the most influential personalities in the world today. Vegas Supernatural, hosted by Reverend Sean Whittington, every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The one show even the devil doesn't want you to hear.
It's showtime!
Here we go, world. You're listening to the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Broadcasting from the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Your base is so large it has to draw most of its power from the nearby nuclear fusion plant.
The future of radio is here and now.
I guess I really don't know what Christmas is all about. Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
Sure, Charlie Brown. I can tell you what Christmas is all about.
Hi, this is Nori from Broadcast Team Alpha, and I'd like to take advantage of this time that we call the holiday season to tell you that this season, today, and always, I wish you love.
Going live in 3, 2, 1.
It's time, once again, to unravel the mysteries of the universe by connecting the dots to a higher consciousness. This is the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Now the world will begin hearing us.
Share your knowledge by calling 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
It's as simple as that.
Find us on Twitter at KCOR Radio or use hashtag KCOR. Even better, join us on the live chat at KCORradio.com. Back to your enlightened hosts, Agi Nost and Diana Serafim.
Yeah, hello, and we are back, and this is Agi again, and I am back. We had some technical difficulties here. I lost my total internet connection, so I was blind flying this plane, and that's not a good thing. So anyway, what we're going to do a little juggling around here. So here we are again, continue after the break, and I don't know where you guys left off, so somebody grab the ball and run with it.
Yeah, thank you. We were talking about religion and God and stuff like that. And before you, Agi, you sure want to ask about the yogi. I just have another question, and then I'm done. I heard you talking about being authentically in this world and being vulnerable. How can we match this setting with our world where everything is labeled?
Is the question overall you're asking, how can we be vulnerable and humble? In other words, how do we create the climate within ourselves when the world is so noisy? Is that the question?
Yes, yes, exactly.
You can use the noise of the world to reflect to you how silent you are. Because what is going to transpire is happening now. In the year 2020, as the whole world's consciousness begins to collectively link up again, because everyone's focused on New Year's 2020. We bring in the new year, 7.7 billion people are hyper-focused on, oh, wow, today is January 1st, you sign your check or whatever, 2020. So we have all this energy behind it. But what's going to happen is the noise is going to get louder and the peace is going to get quieter. And the opportunity to hear your silence is when you understand that what's happening outside of the world, in the outside world, is the wool being pulled over your eyes. So when we understand that the wool is being pulled over our eyes for whatever reasons, then we begin to understand and see and feel and intuit what we are, because we're not distracted. We don't allow the political arena to get us into a piss and vinegar fight with people we love. When none of us followed politics and we were growing up in school, we would pick each other up and go have fun. And now we're bickering at each other, slinging metaphorical mud balls at each other. People are fighting. Get out of the best words I can say to support the answer to your question, Diana, would be get out of the fight. The fight is the fight with the world, fight with politics. Stop being, even being an anti-racist. If you get caught in that loop, you're no different. You're part of the problem. So it requires a pulled back perspective so far back that you're literally taking an esoteric position and watching the play. When you're at the movie and it's a drama and there are villains and there are gun robbers and someone just got shot in the movie, when the movie's over, if it's a phenomenal movie, you clap and you're excited. But you don't scoff at the villain and hooray for the hero in the movie. It's all this drama that unfolds. So it sounds like we disassociate from the world and we're leaving the world behind. No, that's not what's happening. What's happening is you expanding into your full self, so that when you do engage and interact with the world, you get the greatest bang for your buck, because you're now imbued with divine fire. And so anything you contribute to the world goes off like this explosion of light. You can really, really make a difference in the contribution that you offer.
Thank you. This is wonderful. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. It is something that is not easy, but all we really have to do is just to try and keep trying, and we can actually do this. So, before the break, Keith, did you guys get to talk too much about your friend, the yogi?
We have not talked about it. I guess we were unconsciously waiting for you, because this was your idea as far as the topic. So I love it.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I saw some pictures of you and him, and this is such a phenomenal story. How did you get connected up with him and run with this story? Because I am all ears.
What happened was, let's see if I can pinpoint the exact year. Let's see, 1998. I learned of a spiritual master. I was teaching a spiritual class. Actually, I was attending it, I believe. It's been so long ago. And at the end of this class, I was standing on the podium, and a friend of mine came up, and we began to talk about these pictures that donned the wall next to us. And there was probably 20, 25 pictures up there, and there was Jesus and Mother Teresa and Gandhi and just a whole lot of spiritual beings. And so a lot of them I knew about, and some of them I didn't. But when we got to the very last one, I said, well, who was that? And they said, this is a man by the name of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. I said, okay, what's that? And he proceeds to pick up this canister of something that was on the altar. And he opens it up and he says, Keith, this is called Vibhuti ash. And this man who you inquired about spontaneously manifested this out of his hand. That was it. I was intrigued. I went home. I began to read every book I can find about him. He doesn't write books. People write books about him. Scientists, doctors go over there to disprove his divinity. They're the ones coming back writing these books saying, I have no idea what I just experienced. So I began to read these books, and I could feel him around me. He started coming to me in dreams. And one night, after about a year, I was awakened in a full consciousness in a dreamscape. And he's standing across the river, and he begins to telepathically talk to me. And he says, Keith, come to India. And I said, how will I do this? And I'm saying to myself in the experience, oh, my God, this is Sai Baba, and he's standing, and this is happening. This was so real. This was so real. And he said, come to India. And my human logic says, I would love to. How would I do that? I've never done such a thing. Where will I get the money? How will I put this together? And he says, Keith, leave all of this alone. Just be willing to put your feet on Indian soil. I'll take care of the rest. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from a lady I've never met by the name of Debbie. Hi, Debbie. She says, hi, Keith. I say, hi. What can I do for you? She says, Keith, my name is Debbie. We have a mutual friend. Word got to me that you want to go to India to see a holy man. I said, yes, ma'am. She says, Keith, I'm a flight attendant. I got some companion passes for the year that are about to expire. can I give you a first-class round-trip ticket? So I went to India and experienced God in the form of a human being. But what you were inquiring about is the most recent God-man I've come into contact with. And his name is Swamiji Viswayogi. He is Lord Datta, incarnated on this planet. He's been here, this is his 9th time. His mission is to unify the world. He's Lord Datta. His name is Sri 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 Viswayogi Viswamji Maharaj. He's been here, like I said, on the planet 9 times. The first incarnation happened many thousands of years ago. He was the first God energy consciousness in the form of a human being to walk on the earth. So ironically, alignment-wise, I had just finished the book about Sai Baba, about my journey to India. I wrote a book called For the Love of God, A Spiritual Journey. And so at the end of the writing this book, I decided I'm going to go through it one more time, make sure it's nice and tight. And on the very last page, I removed the comma or added a comma. And so I was done. I hit save on the document, stood off of the chair, and said, "Thank you, God." And my phone immediately rings. God shows up to me through a phone always. I don't know why. But my phone immediately rings. And it's a friend of mine saying, "Keith, how you doing?" So we play meet and greet and catch up because we hadn't spoken to each other in a while. And I said, "What can I do for you, man?" And she says, "Keith, a God-realized man from India found you astrally and wants you to interview him on Center of Light Radio." And so I began my physical personal relationship with Swamiji when I met him when he came to Memphis, Tennessee. And a beautiful relationship it is to be in the presence of such holy people who are aware of the light and where the essence of where they're literally projecting themselves from at will. When you're around people like this, I'm going to call them people. That sounds so irreverent. When you're around, oh my God, I don't even want to call it a word. It's so blasphemous. And I say blasphemous not because we're going to be in trouble, because it's just, it doesn't really even begin to describe the grace, the light, literally the presence that oozes off of these beings.
Yeah, they're very special. And I saw a picture that you had posted somewhere, and it was a picture of him. And there was this huge, bright white light around his head and his shoulders. Could you comment on that picture?
Yeah, that picture was not manipulated in Photoshop or any way, shape, form, or fashion. This is truly his light. And also, if anyone is interested in me sending you some pictures of some of the light phenomena surrounding Swamiji or any of the work I have a movie out, 2 movies with Swamiji that I've created. One is called Peace, Love, and Unity. And I don't remember, the other one is called And the Meek Shall Inherit the Earth, the Prophecy Realized. You can send me an email at keithanthonyblanchard@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to send you the lot. What was the question you posed to me, sir?
No, just about around.
Oh, yeah, the picture.
That looks so strong.
Yes, I'd be glad to send everyone these types of jewels, precious things in my life, because it represents to me from a time when I was developing my belief in wanting to have something be so real because of that dark night of the soul that Diana and I spoke about, and to where it has now happened for me full circle in my life. So it's a constant, beautiful reminder for me of the mountain I've traversed and how I braved the mountain, and I'm finally at the apex. And now it seems like everything for me is downhill. But Swamiji has been known for quite a few miracles. I mean, his life being here again is the miracle in and of itself. How he unites people is the greatest possible miracle anyone can ever be the instrument or the facilitator of. But Swamiji has been, is known for having things happen wherever he goes.
Yeah, I understand that. And I also understand that people like him. And in India, Tibet, and places like that, I think he's not alone. There are others of that stature, and there are also stories of some of these people that do not die in a normal way. They just kind of disappear. And I guess the term would be ascension, wouldn't it?
Well, you're definitely right about that. To my knowledge, there are at least 51. I may be wrong, but you get the idea. The number's up there. At least that many avatars on the planet at all time, because the light that they anchor is what keeps the planet stable. And people may say, well, Keith, I look out and about, I don't see a stable world. If they weren't here, it would just literally fall apart. There are beings everywhere, illuminating, firing off everywhere. I would say we can call it ascension, but I say ascension is a word that would be used on those who are more human-like and move into the divine, versus the divine actually moving from the inner planes, the most inner planes, that which is the brilliance of 10,000 suns. You know what I'm saying? And coming onto the earth strata and just exploding this big burst of light that, again, like I say, when you're around these luminous beings, it engulfs you. You feel it. You become so humble that you begin to feel the level of power. Let me say that again. You feel the level of power that exists within you, because of the said humility that drapes one through this grace by being around such a luminous being. It's just truly, wow.
I remember a while back, you were interviewing on Center of Light Radio, your radio show there. You were interviewing Father Tiso. He went to India to investigate this concept of ascension. And he showed some pictures when he came back, and he said, yes, the concept of ascension is real, and here are the pictures. You could see that one particular individual that he had pictures of in India, he died, but the body over the next few days shrank down to basically nothing except for hair and nails, and he disappeared. Remember that?
Yes. These avatars, they can do literally anything. They can shrink themselves into the world of the molecular. For example, Paramahansa Yogananda, the man who's responsible for bringing yoga to the world. When he died, in fact, he told his followers, tomorrow I'm out of here. So when he lays his body down, they did not embalm him. His body exuded the scent of roses for like 27, 29 days. So these avatars, though their body is here, it's basically they're looking through a lens from whatever and whenever throne that they're sitting on. They're just basically looking through a telescope at this reality.
Yeah.
They're truly not of this world.
Yeah. This is so interesting. I would love to go to India and have a look at some of these things and talk to some of these people. And you had the experience, so it must have changed you big time.
What? Without a doubt, in and out, all about. Again, there's no way you cannot be changed. Sort of like what Diana and I spoke about a little earlier. It's said very differently, but it takes us to the same place, which is to the realization of the soul. When we find ourselves in a dark night of the soul, because of, you can't go any further into the abyss because you are submersed in darkness, then obviously light somewhere is going to glimmer and there's going to be hope. And same likewise, because in that dark night of the soul, you are humble. You are a humble individual. You just feel like sulking and to this soft place to where you almost want to curl up and die. And we have to die to be born. So in that process, likewise, in the same way, when you are around these divine beings, that very same powerful light that reveals itself in a dark night of the soul reveals to one how insignificant you actually are. And in your humility, in this bowing gesture to humble yourself to the reverence that you're fortunate enough to be around, said these luminous beings, the gate opens up. The heart just opens up, and you find yourself in a place of remembering. Oh my God, I remember this place. And you realize that it's the humility one has that keeps the gate open. And so the Buddhist monks know something. They walk around in humility and prayer and the namaskar, hands together, their whole life, because they're tapping into the cosmic dialogue.
Yeah, and what we have experienced by reading or seeing videos or pictures from India about these people, now we are going through the same kind of shift across the planet. Everybody's talking about rising to 5D and the change, the shift and all that. Do you think this is a long-term process that we're going into, or is it a short one? We know it is happening, but do you have any idea of how we are going to experience this shift?
It's actually happening now. And it would depend on the person, depending on how long it takes for you to finish the game's objective, because this is all it is. It is a divine game. The joke is on you, basically. This is all a game. When we realize that everything is just a play of divine consciousness, the good, the bad, it's all for one's benefit, actually, to bring one into a conscious space of being the game player versus being played by the game. So it depends on one's level of involvement in the process. Now, this is the energy that's coming through 2020, 2020, those twos in that formula are doorways. And it's not prejudice. Whatever you ask for, consciously or not, one of those doors is going to open up and say, here you go. And so we can use the momentum of this doorway that's open now. But again, when you have the collective consciousness behind it and it begins to push, oh my God, we're into this new decade and you got all this force behind you, you can use it to ride the raft down the river consciously. Or it can literally kick you in your pants and humble you to your knees.
Yeah.
So, but once the momentum gets going, then the process may level off and balance out to where it's a ride versus a rush. But, we can use this force and this momentum to shave many, many miles off of our spiritual journey. Basically a spiritual shortcut. Not that there is one, but if there was one, that would be a good idea.
It looks to me like we have about 4 minutes left on the show here, but I want you to tell people where they can connect with you and your website, where they can get your books, because there is so much insight in this that people should really have a second look up and beyond this radio show.
I want to say thank you to you and Diana and Tina and everybody on your team for having me. I really enjoyed the teamwork. Very, very well done. Thanks for having me, my brother. Everyone, you can find me at KeithAnthonyBlanchard.com or centeroflightradio.com. They both take you to the same place. You can contact me at KeithAnthonyBlanchard@gmail.com. You could find Center of Light Radio on Facebook. You can find Keith Anthony Blanchard on Facebook as well. Be in touch with me. I am an approachable guy. My bestseller, The Divine Principle, Anchoring Heaven on Earth, you can find on Amazon or on my website, centeroflightradio.com. But also I have a new book coming out, worldwide distribution and publishing by John Hunt's Publishing, called Homecoming, Crossing the Bridge to the Soul. 30 years of passion, sincerity, humility, and vulnerability is in this work. And it's basically, I don't use this term lightly. It's not per se a shortcut, but it's putting you in certain situations that allows one to see, oh my gosh, I really understand this. So in these little bitty realizations, you literally begin to connect consciously to the soul.
Wow. Yeah, and now we are got about a minute and a half left. So if you can talk to the whole world, Keith, what would you tell them?
Oh, and you can also find me on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. I can definitely use your support. That's youtube.com/Center of Light Radio. I support everyone in being your happy self. Treat yourself as if you're worth more than anything possible, because until you do, anything that is worth something possible is likely going to be out of your reach. Love is not something you receive. Love is something you simply are. Be that, and the gateway to everything that is possible will open up for you, and you will finally find yourself in the Garden of Soul.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful. And thank you very much.
You are loved beyond measure. Everyone is loved beyond measure. And I am loved beyond measure. We are loved beyond measure.
Thank you very much for being with us, Keith. This was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Your weekly guide to a deeper understanding of the all that we are.
Well, in a few years, it will be a matter of common sense to very many people that they are one with the universe. It'll be so simple.
Live Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the show, hosts, or their guests, please visit universal-consciousness-show.com. That's universal-consciousness-show.com. Remember, there's a shift coming. A new earthly paradigm. A shift to universal consciousness.
Universal consciousness.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51. Wait, that doesn't exist.